Believe it or not, Dead by Daylight has always been a trash ass game since the beginning. As a matter of fact, I'd say Dead by Daylight was 10 times worse when it actually came out. When it first came out, I'm actually glad I didn't play the game back then because if I did, I probably would have done lost my mind already. I mean, the fact that I'm losing my mind with the game right now, it would have been 10 times worse if I actually played the game in the beginning. But Dead by Daylight has always been a trash ass game. This was never a game that was actually good or worth your actual goddamn time. This was always a shitty ass fucking game. And the only reason why it's not as bad as it was in the beginning is because it's just gotten worse there, but you just don't see it yet. Alright? How long have we just been doing generators for 6 years now? This game came out, what, 2016? Man, this game has been out for almost, you could say it's almost a decade. This game has been out for almost half a decade, and we are still just doing gens and just looping the killer, doing gens all day and getting hooked all night. That's all we've been doing in this game for the past 6 years, ladies and gentlemen. Dead by Daylight is and always will be a trash ass game. It doesn't matter what new killers they add, it doesn't matter what new fun meta perks they add in. Dead by Daylight will never be something other than just doing gens and getting hooked and getting camped and getting looped when you actually try and play killer for once and getting looped for 5 fucking gens. I had a strategy for trying to deal with that. I figured they say when you play killer, just don't chase one survivor while there's still a couple of gens left. Okay, well, what are you supposed to do when literally every survivor is a god at looping? Or what happens when you actually try and play survivor for once and you get a really, really good nurse who just downs everyone in the first couple minutes of the match? Dead by Daylight is not fun as killer or survivor. Well, it's way more fun for survivor, but even for survivor, some stupid shit could happen, like getting a really, really good huntress who could hit you from across the map, or getting a really, really good nurse who just downs everyone in the first couple of minutes. Now, I know it may sound like this is just my problem and I'm just complaining like a salty little bitch. You could assume that, sure, but what do you have to say when you see people who have the exact same complaints that I do? What do you say when people have the same issues and the same complaints and are having the same problems as me? Are you still gonna say that I'm the one who's complaining and it's just my problem? The problem with Dead by Daylight is how incredibly unbalanced it is and how incredibly ignorant Matthew Cote is and all of the other shitty developers. Behavior does not care for us killer mains. They do not care for us, and they do not want to actually pay attention to our needs because they simply don't care. This game is quite possibly the most unbalanced, trash ass game I have ever played in my entire life. Playing killer in this game is a joke. Okay? When you play a video game, what do you expect to have? What do video games give people? What do people expect to get when they play a video game? Fun. They want to have fun. Sure, it could also be challenging. Fun comes with the challenge. There is no fun if there isn't a little bit of challenge. But there is a goddamn difference between something that is a challenge and something that is just completely frustrating and just completely ridiculous and unfair. The fact that survivors in this game are more dangerous than the killer, what do you have to say towards that? And they don't even use guns. You know how survivors are more dangerous than the killer? When they have a really good map that has extremely overpowered loops, pallets around every corner, and getting gen rushed in the first couple of minutes in the match. There's so much behavior could do to make this game more balanced for both survivors and killers. But here's the thing. One side of the game, playing survivor, of course, it's good. Okay, playing survivor in this game is actually good. I mean, it gets boring as fuck just doing gens, but it's good. All right, it's not the best gameplay, but it's good. But it is uncomparable to the absolute shit show of playing killer. Now I know what you're gonna say. You're just gonna say that I'm a bad killer and I don't know how to prevent gen work and I don't know how to actually do chases. Well, you're wrong. Okay, you're wrong. As a matter of fact, if you even are assuming that, you are extremely ignorant and couldn't be further from the truth. I am a very good killer, and I know how to run survivors, and I know how to counter loops. That's not the problem. The fact that survivors only have one single objective, one thing they gotta do, just one single objective that they have to do, and boom, the game is done and they win the game. That is extremely stupid. Look at Friday the 13th. Look how good Friday the 13th was. In Friday the 13th, you had multiple objectives, so multiple scenarios could happen each time you actually played the game. For example, you could, one, try and fix the car, and even when you do fix the car, you still gotta save everyone else. You gotta save your teammates, you gotta save the other counselors, and then of course you actually have to find the exit and also drive away from Jason, and if he catches you, then you're over, you're done. And that also makes it more intense. And not only that, but you realize something, this also gives a chance for the killer, who was of course Jason. If survivors in Friday the 13th could actually manage to fix the car and try and get at least 4 people out, as Jason, you have a chance to try and stop them, or at least try and stop 4 counselors from escaping. You have a chance to at least get 1 or 2 kills, right? So you see what I mean? In Friday the 13th, it's a lot more balanced because the survivors, they have a chance to escape, but it's not completely over for the killer, and the survivors still gotta work, and they still gotta actually make sure that they're completely out of the woods before they can actually assume that they win the game. Another thing is when you call the cops on Friday the 13th, there's 5 minutes. So yes, you call the cops, but now you have to try and hide from Jason or just outlast Jason until the cops get there. And as Jason, that also gives you a chance because you have 5 minutes to try and kill at least a couple of people before the cops show up. And you could also try and prevent them from actually getting to the cops in the first place. So the thing that's so good about Friday the 13th is it gives a chance to both sides. Because in Friday 13th, when you complete an objective, although you've completed the objective, there's still a little bit of things you have to do before you could actually safely escape and win the game. This also gives a chance for the killer. And it's not like, it's killer sided either, because, for example, again, when survivors get the car started, if someone is driving a car and if they're using really good perks, like there's some perks that actually let them go faster when they're driving the car, for example, the survivors have a good chance at getting out, but Jason still also has a good chance at catching them. So this makes it fun and challenging for whoever's playing Jason and for the counselors themselves. Now back to Dead by Daylight. Playing killer in this game, Dead by Daylight, I could describe playing killer in 3 words: humiliation, frustration, and anger, and completely unfun. That was 4 words, but that's just something that came to my mind because that's sad. That is so sad. Playing killer in this game is not fun anymore. When was it ever fun? When was playing killer ever fun in this game? I remember when this game first came out, decisive strike worked like this. They could use it whenever they wanted to. It wasn't like you had to get hooked first. They could use decisive strike whenever they fucking wanted to. And that's not even mentioning all of the horrible nerfs that they were applying to all the killers before. You could say that Dead by Daylight has improved for killers, but let me tell you something. It hasn't. As a matter of fact, I'd say it's gotten worse. And people think that the new killer, the Dredge, coming out, yes, the Dredge is a really strong killer. But I watched TURJ's video, and he was playing against a really good Swift, and from the looks of it, he was still getting generous, and it still looked like he was about to lose the game. So that's not the thing. Strong killers don't matter. That's not the issue. The issue is the game is too easy for survivors. This is why it's harder for the killer. If the game wasn't so goddamn easy for survivors, then maybe the game wouldn't be such a shit show for killers. Now, like I said, you may be thinking that this is just my fault and I'm just bad at the game. I have been playing Dead by Daylight for 3 years now, okay? So if I've been playing the game for more than 3 years, I don't think I'm that bad at the game. Not as bad as I could be. Besides, you guys have seen some of my gameplay. I'm a really good survivor, but I'm also a good killer. And for any survivor mains out there, and if anyone who thinks that this game is killer-sided, anyone who thinks this game is killer-sided, have most likely never even touched killer themselves. They probably just picked up the game and have only been playing Survivor for the past couple of months, and that's why they have this stupid, ignorant assumption thinking that this game is killer-sided. And I'm not saying I want the game to be killer-sided. Friday the 13th isn't killer sided, but it's not survivor sided equals. It's equal. It's not survivor sided, it's not killer sided. Friday the 13th was equal. Another great thing in Friday the 13th is you could try and loop Jason just like you loop the killer in Dead by Daylight. But here's the thing. In Friday the 13th, you have a stamina bar. And when that stamina bar goes out, you're going to go a lot slower. So although you could try and loop Jason and try and get away from him, eventually the game is going to pull a 180 on you and you're like, oh, you're out of stamina. Now you have the potential of getting killed. And this also gives a chance for Jason to get his kill. That's called balance. In Dead by Daylight, that simply doesn't exist. You could run a killer for 5 gens in this game. For 5 gens. And by the looks of it, it takes at least a minute to get 1 gen done, right? You could have 3 survivors. You could literally have all 3 survivors just fucking with the killer, just bullying the fuck out of the killer, and you could have 1 guy just running around the map doing all the gens. You could fuck with the killer for 5 whole minutes. And for the fucking Survive with Friends groups, they ruined this game, okay? They are ruining this game. But before you assume that I'm blaming them, I am not blaming Survive with Friends, okay? I used to have a Survive with Friends group in Friday 13 all the time. Hell, I would have a full lobby in Friday 13 playing with my friends, communicating, making callouts just like you do in Dead by Daylight. But here's the thing, since Friday 13th is actually balanced and it's fair for both the killer and the survivor, we were not ruining the game or making it a living hell for the killer, because that game was actually balanced. In this game, you have a 4-man group, a 4-man Survive with Friends group. You can have 2 survivors who are really good at looping, or you can have 1 survivor who's really good at looping, because that's the thing. Just one survivor who is good at looping can run the killer for infinity. All they need is a map that has really, really good loops, or has really, really good places where there's pallets all over the place. Oh god, the pallets. There's maps in this game where the pallets are literally right next to each other. They're literally right next to each other. They're only a couple meters away from each other, but it's not even the fucking pallets anymore. There are maps in this game, and those maps, there are some maps in this game where the loops are extremely overpowered. The walls are long enough, and there are 2 windows to vault, which basically means that the killer can't even catch up. And even if they have something like Bamboozle or Fire Up, that's still not going to make a difference. And not only that, but even if you do manage to get a survivor down in this game, the amount of chances that they have, BT, Decisive Strike, Dead Hard, Unbreakable, everything a killer tries to do in this game, survivors already have a counterplay for it. The killer tries to tunnel just to get a kill if they're getting gen rush. Guess what? Decisive Strike, or body blocking, or BT. You try and slug, Unbreakable. There's nothing a killer can do in this game to actually win. The only time you will ever win as killer in this game is if, 1, it's RNG. If you manage to actually get all survivors down and maybe slug, if they don't bring Unbreakable, then you might be able to win. Either that, or survivors will make a mistake and you can capitalize on that mistake and then you win. Or, of course, if you're just playing against really bad survivors or survivors who are just not good. But the fact that all a survivor needs to know is just how to loop, it's fucking horrible. Like I said, there are maps in this game that have extremely overpowered loop locations in that map. Places where the survivor can just loop the killer for at least 2 or 3 minutes, tops. Sometimes more than that, especially if they have fucking Dead Hard or Decisive Strike. Playing killer in this game is so bad. It is absolutely terrible. And if you're some kind of entitled killer main who thinks that I'm just complaining, I'm glad that you're having a good time with this game, but even to you, you will want to run into a toxic Survive Friends group, and it will happen to you. Like I said, if the game was more balanced, and if it actually had more than one objective, maybe the game wouldn't be as shit as it is. Like I said, the fact that survivors only need to complete one objective, one single objective, and it's over with for the killer. And like I said, I'm not saying I want the game to be completely killer-sided. I don't want the game to be survivor-sided or killer-sided because I actually care about both sides of the game. Remember, this is an asymmetrical game. Okay, so I care for both sides. Okay, when survivors play, I want them to have fun with the game. When killers play, I want them to have fun with the game. This is a video game after all, so it's supposed to be fun for both sides who play it. But the fact that it's only fun for one side and a complete shit show for the other, and for so long now, it proves just how shit behavior is. And for anyone who thinks that I'm just complaining, or if you decide to trash talk me in the comments and say that I'm wrong and you're right and just that my opinion sucks and yours is better, you can go fuck yourself. You have every right to go fuck yourself, because if you don't agree with me, that's fine. But if you want to act like an entitled little crybaby in the comments and just be salty little bitch, go fuck yourself. I don't give a shit about you. I don't care if you cry in my comments. I don't care if you complain. I don't care if I offend you. My name is Mr. Rage22, and I can give a fuck about all you people. And I have good intentions, okay? People think I want this game to be 100% killer-sided, but that's not the point, okay? I play Survivor myself. Look at my Lucky Escape videos. I play Survivor myself. I want the game to be fun. I want this to be a fun game, whether I'm playing Killer or Survivor. And the game has so much potential. As a horror fan, this game is amazing. In what game can we have Michael Myers chasing Leon Kennedy from Resident Evil, along with Laurie Strode from Halloween, Bill from Left 4 Dead, and Ash from Evil Dead on the fucking Raccoon City police station map? It's an amazing game for horror fans, and for people who like the slasher movies in general. But the gameplay is so shit. And like I said, I'm not blaming Survive with Friends groups, okay? People want to play with their friends. Hell, I want to play with my friends all the time. I play with my friends almost every day on this game in a Survive with Friends group. I don't blame them. I blame them for exploiting the game, though, and I blame behavior for giving survivors too much. It's not just the loops. It's all of the goddamn perks. Survivor perks are so OP. Well, they're not entirely OP, but they're so annoying, though. You try and let's talk about something. Let's say you're getting gen rushed, right? There's only 2 gens left on the map. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do if there's only 2 gens left on the map and you need to get a kill? Obviously, you're gonna tunnel. You're gonna tunnel just to get that 1 kill, because even getting 1 kill is still okay. At least you get 1 kill out of all that hard work playing killer in the first place. You try and tunnel. Guess what? Decisive strike. And even when the decisive goes off, guess what? You got motherfuckers coming and body blocking you and body blocking the hook or sabotaging the hook because they got those overpowered ass toolboxes and those overpowered add-ons for the toolbox. That's the thing. This game gives too much to the survivors and not enough for the killer. Yeah, you've got shit like Noed and Blood Warden and Pop Goes the Weasel to prevent gen progression. Pop Goes the Weasel is actually a really overrated perk. It doesn't even take away that much progression, and not only that, but you have to get a hook first. How are you supposed to use Pop Goes the Weasel to prevent gen work if you can't even get a hook because people have Decisive Strike, BT, and are also fucking body blocking? You can't even tunnel in the first place because if they don't have Decisive Strike, then one has BT. If they don't have BT, then they have Dead Hard, and they just outrun you completely, and they get to a fucking pallet, they get to a place where they can loop you, to where you can't even actually get the hit in the first place without them finishing all the goddamn gens. This game is a fucking joke. This game is a fucking joke. Even playing Survivor is boring. If they could just add more objectives, if they could just actually give survivors a second objective, even just something else to do, maybe the game would be better for both sides. Because think about it. Doing generators gets boring after a while. If there was another objective, then this would give the game more variety. In Friday the 13th, every time you play a match on Friday the 13th, so many things could happen. Maybe you'll get the car started, maybe you'll save everyone. Maybe you'll get the car started, maybe you'll die, or maybe not everyone will make it. Maybe you'll get the boat started. Hell, maybe you'll call the cops. Maybe you could even kill Jason. Friday the 13th had so many objectives and so much variety. In this game, I could tell you how every one of your matches are going to go. You're either going to finish all the gens and escape, you're going to finish a couple of gens and die, you'll finish all the gens, maybe you'll escape, maybe the killer will have Blood Warden or something, or Noed. Maybe you play killer, maybe you get a 4K, you feel good about yourself, then you get fucking destroyed in the next one. This is not even mentioning the horrible skill-based matchmaking system. You have one good game as a killer. You get one good game, one good 4K, and I shit you not, your next match is going to be up against a 4-man Toxic Swift. Toxic Survive with Friends, all because you had one good game as killer, and that one good game was most likely against survivors who are not even that good at the game. So it's not like skill-based matchmaking actually teaches you how to be good, because you're not going to be good by versing bad survivors. Now you could say that you'll get better by versing good survivors, sure. If the game didn't give so much to survivors, that could actually be the point, because at the end of the day, you can counter good looping. You could counter a survivor who's good at looping, either by using mind games or by using good perks like Bamboozle or Fire Up, or for Palette, Spirit Fury, and Brutal Strength, right? It's not the looping that matters. It's the fact that the game is just too easy for survivors, especially if you are in a 4-man Swift group. Because all you need is 1 or 2 people who are good at looping the killer, really good meta perks, and someone who can gen rush. A gen jockey, basically. As much as I hate to say it, here I am, complaining about how Survivor side the game is. I am a gen jockey myself. I gen rush the killer almost half the time I play with my friends. But it shouldn't be like that. This is supposed to be a survival horror game when you're playing as a survivor. There's supposed to be tension and there's supposed to be actual fear whenever you get spotted by the killer. And yet in this game, you have people who actually find the killer intentionally to bully them by looping and flashlight flickering and doing all that other shit. If the game was more in favor of both sides instead of just one, the game would be better. I haven't even brought up this game's horrible, toxic ass community. This game's community brings out the worst in me. I am a spreader of kindness. I don't like negativity. I spread kindness in any opportunity I can. But this game right here, this game genuinely makes me want to hurt people. I fucking despise this game's toxic ass community. This game's community is so fucking cancerous and so toxic, you have to wear a gas mask just to actually interact with it. Every time you actually interact with this game's horrible community, you're most likely going to catch cancer and need chemotherapy because of how cancerous the community actually is. This game's community is as toxic as any other game. GTA, not even as toxic as this shit. GTA is supposed to be toxic, okay? People complain about, GTA is too toxic. That's GTA. That game is supposed to be toxic. It's a fucking crime simulator. That game is supposed to be toxic. People are supposed to be killing you in that game. People are supposed to be killing each other in that game, okay? This is the most toxic, garbage-ass game ever made. So what do we have on the list? Horrible gameplay, survivor-sided, and a garbage-ass community along with skill-based matchmaking. Do I need to say more? Why are you still here? Get out of here. Do I need to say more? If you made it towards the end of this video, if you are still here and still watching this, and if you still don't agree, and if you still can somehow actually like this game, I envy you. I want to like this game so much. When I first played the game, it was so much fun. Like I said, I didn't play this game during its horrible years when it first came out. I played it in around, I think, 2018, possibly. I can't really remember. And when I first started, I loved it. I loved it. But as it's gone on, I quickly realized just how trash this game is. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know, what do you think about Dead by Daylight? I can't stand this game anymore. I absolutely can't stand this game anymore. I am tired of trying to have a peaceful game as killer, just a fun game as killer, and I lose half my matches. And I don't feel good when I actually win against survivors who are not good at the game, because then I'm just ruining their fun. Because I know how they feel, getting destroyed every time. Because as killer, I get destroyed by these toxic ass Survive with Friends groups. And you know what? You could blame Survive with Friends. Fuck Survive with Friends. Fuck all those assholes, because they exploit the game and they're toxic themselves. So you know what? Fuck Survive with Friends groups. I appreciate the chill ones who just want to get on and just have fun with their friends. But for the toxic ones, y'all could suck my dick, man. You could suck my fucking dick. Y'all are the reason why COVID exists. Fucking asshole bitches. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think about Dead by Daylight. I think the game sucks, but yeah, and if you guys are wondering why there's been such a lack of actual rant videos, I have been dealing with some personal things in my life, a lot of psychological things. As you guys know, I have a mental illness, so I'm kind of dealing with that. So that's why there's been such a lack of actual rant videos. I do have a couple of gameplay shorts on here, but I know you guys love my rant videos, just love seeing me, hate on stuff, but yeah, I'll try and do more. I'll try and do better for you guys. I'm also gaining lots of subscribers, and I appreciate, thank you all for 240 subs. I really appreciate you guys. But, yeah, I will try and do more uploads, more rant videos. I love making these rant videos because, when I get angry about something, letting it all out in front of you guys and just, letting you guys experience my anger, it feels good. So, Yeah, no matter what the fuck I say, because y'all know I don't give a shit about offended people. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this vid. This was Mr. Rage 22 signing off. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. But yeah. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. This was Mr. Rage 22 signing off. Bye bye, guys, and have a good one.